All right, y'all. Bitter Bros Golf Show. Back at it again for another week. Not the last show of the week. We actually are gonna try to go live on course tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes, or until my battery dies. My name is Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Yeah. Also, I'm not in my normal location, so I am on the road this week in Houston, Texas, and at the in-laws' house, so the signal may or may not be great. We shall see how this thing works out. And yeah, so how you feeling? I know you were a little bit sick earlier in the week. You on the mend?
I'm on the mend. Just a little bit of congestion left, but overall, like all the bad feeling is gone, the soreness is gone, and stuff like that. So yeah, tomorrow I should be rocking and rolling.
Cool. Yeah, I went out to Memorial Park here in Houston and walked in a pretty fairly dry round. It started raining holes number like 5 through 12, but overall not crazy, no lightning, and virtually nobody was out there. But one thing that
Herman
we're going to
or
discuss
Memorial?
today is no. Did I say Memorial or Herman?
Yeah, you said Memorial.
Sorry. Herman Park. Um, Good, bad, and ugly from the year in golf in 2023. And one of the things that is always on my list as bad for golf is slow play. So on a course where
1,000%.
nobody else was out there, literally another single ended up catching up with me around hole number 14 because there was a threesome, a walker who was the slowest walker I have ever experienced in my life. After every shot, he would take a ridiculous amount of time to reclub and get stuff back
Clean
into
the
his bag,
club. Yep. Hmm.
even though he had an umbrella over his bag and a walking cart. So me and this single that lived across the street and walked up, also trying to get a fast round in, ended up finishing the last 5 6 holes together. And again, no one else on the course, but you got three dudes creating a log jam when no one else is out there. So, and then wouldn't let us pass. Just
Believable.
really a sad.
Oblivious to it all.
Seriously, I don't know what they were doing prior to that. I could always see them from a few holes over until I caught up with them. But
Hmm.
to their credit, I mean they picked up whatever pace they were on previous to that, but they were still slow. It was very ridiculous. So, shout out
Yeah.
to slow play. But yeah, let's hit it. I want to talk about the good, bad, and ugly from the year of golf. I sent over a message to you that I had some ideas. I didn't want to put together some hard and firm lists. I wanted to just kind of get, just off the dome things that I had kind of talked about or thought about as well. So I want to start off with one thing that I think for us that is very good is the start of this show. I think I've had an enjoyable time doing this week to week and spending time talking to you about golf and
Facts.
just the hot topics, and that's been a win for me this year. So that's one of the things on my good list. And I thought, after thinking about it, I had more things that were good than were not. I was a little bit surprised, but digging deep. What do you have on your good list? What's one thing that you think is good from this year of golf in 2023?
Yeah, I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, hitting even par and then my career low all in, the same amount of weeks pretty much earlier this year. So just being able to just feed off of that and have something to go and chase and feel like I wasn't plateauing anymore and feeling like I was still, making those next steps to get better and better. It was definitely an enlightening year. I felt like even though I'm a brainiac as far as it goes, as far as golf tech and the swing and the history of the game and stuff like that, felt like I picked up so much knowledge just this year, just off of watching watching all the videos we do, recapping all the articles we've been over and everything like that. Just overall being more involved in every aspect of golf, which is something we always already tried to do. but it was even better now. So and also definitely felt really just therapeutic being able to reconnect with you, big bro, and being able to just hash this out every week and being able to just be on a day-to-day basis with you again. And we picked it up, and like I said, we've always been really good. We've had the rapport of late, but it's just been getting better and better. So just really thankful for
Yeah.
that, and being able to keep that momentum going. And we got something out of the mud, and we got to keep going. We got to stand on business with this thing, man.
Yeah, we'll be at a year in February, so we'll celebrate that episode when that actually arrives. So, shout out to the Bearded Bros Golf Show, coming together this year. Shout out to improving in golf every single year. You never want to, like you said, hit a plateau where you're stopping improving. I talked about it a couple weeks ago as well. Hitting, breaking 70, or excuse me, breaking 80 a few times this year and being really close a couple of other times and feeling like, things are still coming together and really just figuring out where my game is, where my swing is, and just kind of knowing what is my go-to swing instead of being changing it up or whatnot every week just to kind of
Oh
scratch out a
yeah,
score. So um, yeah, so that's from our little world. I'd say one of the good things from the professional world is the LPGA and its kind of
agreed.
not resurgence, but it's just kind of popularity and getting to really where the consciousness around the game, and the events that they have been, I don't know how to describe it, but just the awareness around the LPGA has been at an all-time high, and some of the things that we've talked about, them utilizing social media a lot better, have
Yeah,
come to fruition. The Grant Thornton a couple of weeks ago, I think, was a really good feature for the best in the ladies game. And they had some really kind of breakout stars this year, Lilia Vu and Celine Boutier, really rising to the top of the talent pool, which says a
yeah,
lot because the women's game is highly talented. What do you think about
super deep.
how the LPGA performed?
As a product overall, very successful. Just a lot more eyes on the game. And if you want to talk about actually growing the game, they did that this year. I mean, where it came from coverage and whether it came from everything that happened as far as the events they put out, the prize money and the pool that they raised up and everything like that. I feel like LPGA made major steps in more than just one way. Um, and then, of course, I mean, you just have I feel like the the talent pool is always so deep that it's just like a mark of like parity that's always ongoing in LPGA because you never know who's gonna get hot. Just like what happened with Nelly Corda. When Nelly Corda was number one, we thought she was the next best thing since sliced bread, and she was for
Uh-huh.
an entire year. But she went through a couple of injuries. Getting back on track with that. So you just got to really think about all these girls that didn't really even show face this year. You don't think that they're not gonna, bust back into form next year, like Arya Jatarnagarn. I mean, both of the
Yeah, Minji Lee.
Jatarnagarn sisters, Minji Lee, she's gonna be more on the winning side, and that just twice. So yeah, and then of course with Lilia Vu, and then everything like that, and then as we mentioned, maybe for the fourth time now, Solheim Cup, back to back years. So again, just a lot of momentum tracking the right way. So hopefully they can keep that going. And I mean, honestly, I feel like there's not a day that goes by that I'm not seeing some type of either updated LPGA post on IG or some type of reel from the past. But something to keep my eyes on the game is always gonna stay that way.
Yeah, 100%. They've really done a good job with figuring out how to market the stars. So taking advantage of people that are winning and getting their faces out there, encouraging them to be more social. Again, I criticized Lilia Vu kind of middle of the season after kind of just really she's not very present on her Instagram page. That's
Yeah.
that's where things are done. But she has stepped up her presence. Some of those sponsorships have come about, so you see some partner posts from her as well. So shout out to her. Also,
Yeah.
got this comment up from Crystal Cochran. She says, I prefer watching the LPGA over PGA, and I get that. I mean, I we've talked about that how the fundamentals of the game in the LPGA are incredibly solid, better than males. The ball striking on the LPGA is pretty dang incredible to
Yeah.
watch. Just watching them, get back to impact and really executing on some amazing shots and their accuracy and proximity to the pin. Without even looking at the stats, I can pretty much tell you is probably closer than the male game. Especially as you
Oh,
get
truly.
closer, into the green, the accuracy is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, if you want to actually get into the mechanics and technique of golf swings, you absolutely want to watch the LPGA. The PGA, the men's game is just a lot of athletic and a lot of athleticism. They've just found a way to make good contact and move the ball out there. The LPGA, slighter stature, not as strong, obviously. So, you got to be middle of the face, perfect positions, the right club head speed, the right lag, and everything like that. Perfect wedge game, not making sure you're accurate. That's the complete game to watch. And people want to discount it all the time, but really, that's what you should be paying attention to if you want to learn the game of golf and do it at a pro level or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, they've long been the statue for how to grow the game and how to learn how to play the right way.
Yeah. Cool. So, shout out to my mom, our mom. Love you, mom. Peter Bros Golf Show. Wouldn't be here without you. Um, I think another good thing, and this kind of will touch on something that's ugly down the line, is that the kind of turmoil between Live and the PGA Tour is that really in the calendar year of 2023, there's only been one true defection, which came here recently with John Rahm. So I know, again, that's a contentious topic, especially, in the comment sections out on social media, Live versus PGA. But as things relate, I mean, there was a lot of news all year, unless I just missed it. There was no other major name that went over to Live within the season of play within 2023, and without all the other stuff that's going on in the perimeter.
Yeah,
We get it. We talked about it a lot, but there was only one defection. And I think people anticipated in these next couple of weeks, right after the ROM signing, that there would be others that happened. But no, it's been pretty quiet. And then, yes, there were rumors. We talked about Tony Finau committing himself to the PGA Tour in 2024. Terrell Hatton
yeah.
was also rumored to go over, as well as, they talked about some Australians, which probably was alluding to Jason Day, but we've not seen that. And yes, there's still a couple of months, excuse me, until the live season starts, and we'll see the PGA lacing it back up here soon, over in Hawaii. But what do you think about that particular good? That even though there's been a lot of stuff, there's only been one player that actually moved in 2023.
Yeah, I mean that's very good. Amongst all the arguing and crying and everything like that, only one person has really truly made that move, and I think it's good for PGA, but could be even better down the stretch. I mean, because it'll just again with this amount of money, honestly, you know what? Let me retract that. I think it's good because of what you referred to earlier in the season, just maybe about a month ago with the financial bubble stuff. I think it's all gonna be a good thing as far as the reset goes, as far as money goes in the PGA and comparative leagues. I think that's gonna be a good thing because one thing you got to do is you got to get back to the golf. And with all the money talk, the people aren't going to be really focused on that. So once all the money stuff settles itself out, I think we'll get back to the golf. We'll get back to, the cream of the crop rising, and we'll all be back in a hunky dory situation where we'll get four majors and about 20 events with the top notch guys. And then, we'll go from there, whether it be, you know, 2025 or however it may work with the litigation. I don't know. I mean, we still got a week. We got all the way till 12/31 to see what's going to happen with that. So you just never
Yeah.
know, man. You just never know.
Yeah. A lot of deals get done when they're up against a deadline. So who knows? Something crazy could happen this week, or it could completely blow up and these sides continue fighting. We've mentioned several times that there are other investors interested in investing into the PGA Tour. So it's not a done
Yeah.
deal. I feel like they're going to find funding somewhere, even though, honestly, the money that the return is not coming immediately, right? The money that comes into golf is more slow rolling. You don't see these crazy numbers that you see coming out of the NFL and NBA in terms of revenue and what they're able to
Yeah.
bring in. So it's a little bit more of a long term slog. So it's very mind boggling to see how much money Live is pouring into their league, given that seeing a return on that investment is so many decades down the road. So, um, again, I'm all about just unity and not having people just fleeing and spreading out around the world and dividing our attention of where we go and watch golf. That's really what my interest and where it lies.
Great.
Another good thing that I kind of thought of and was on my mind were the majors and kind
Yeah.
of how we had a little bit of parity from the majors this year. Just kind of running through it. We had John Rahm winning the Masters back in April, his second major. And, I think there was some bad to that just because it allowed him the opportunity and the exemptions for the next 5 years. So that part kind
Yeah.
of sucks, and it allowed him some freedom to go take off to live. I think his situation would be totally different had he not won the Masters or any other major this year. We had Brooks Koepka win the PGA Championship at not Brian Harmon, let me not skip. U.S. Open was Wyndham Clark, which we were questioning his kind of bona fides and if he was legitimate after his win earlier in the year in the Wells Fargo. Was he legit? And he was able to prove that at the U.S. Open. Although we didn't hear much from him, throughout the year. He wasn't. He was in the Ryder Cup, right? I mean, but just didn't
Yeah.
perform that well. Yeah,
Yeah.
just didn't. I mean, so it says a lot. I mean, he was there, but kind of an afterthought. And then we had Brian Harmon in a blowout at the British Open
Yeah.
or the
Just a
Open, as
walkover.
however you refer to it. Just completely boring. Dominated the last 2 days after taking the lead in the second day. And
In
so,
bad
you know,
conditions at that.
right, right, and you just kind of
Rain suit
kept
the
kept
whole weekend.
you kept holding your breath, thinking that he was gonna have a slide back, and he never did. Um,
Never.
so yeah, we had some parity in the majors. Brooks returning to form. So what did you think of the majors and any bold predictions going forward?
Well, I mean, I got to do a better job of admitting when I was wrong, and you were right about Wyndham Clark. He was talking big shit and backed it up, and I was sitting here like I don't think he should have been talking that crazy, but here he is, a major winner. So kudos to you for that. I think, I mean, like we talked about with Victor Hovland, you know what? Let's go different. I don't. Let's go different route because I don't want to just keep rehashing things that we've talked about over and over again. Like, let's bring up some new names. I think you got to think about a guy like Zalatoris. I don't know if he'll necessarily win a major. He most likely won't. But I think by the end of the year, I think maybe in the last two majors, he'll compete. He'll be back
Okay.
in a little rhythm. The back will be back in form. He'll figure out the new broom sweep, putter, whatever he wants to do. Um, I think I think a guy like Xander Schauffele, if the course is playing for a draw, I think he can win it. So like the
Hmm.
Masters, I think he has a good chance. Just like the last couple of years, he's been competing. Never really just like top five, top 10, but like made the cut, made some money, had a few good rounds where it's like, oh, okay, like he can hit it around. So I think Xander Schauffele, Zalatoris, and I mean, it's hard to look away from our bear. the guy is just a unit. I mean, it's so
Yeah,
easy for him. I mean, in younger generation that just goes flag hunting. Okay, I'm gonna make some bogeys, but I'm also gonna make a lot of birdies. So
yeah,
you got to buy into that now. Not necessarily the game we can play, but that's the game he can play.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good.
I'm I don't know. I'm kind of down on Schauffele just because I think he is. I know he's good friends with Cantlay, and I don't know.
Yeah,
It just seems
he's got
like
a lot of stuff going on in the background. It seems like
it
he
just feels
was
like
in turmoil with his contract if he was going to live and stuff.
yeah,
Like he was
yeah.
one of
It
those
just seems
names
like
where he
bad
was talking
vibes.
about that. Yeah, it could be. Could be
We'll
falling
see
out with
on
his
that one.
dad and stuff too as a coach.
Yeah, I like the Zalatoris. I'm optimistic because I think he's a really good guy. I think he made some comments earlier in the year that just said, "Hey, I haven't earned a contract of live size. I hadn't really proven myself as of yet.
Yeah,
At the time, I think he had only either just won or hadn't even won yet when the rumors started popping up around him. You mentioned Hovland, but I mean, his game is trending in the right direction. I mean, he finished the
for
year
sure.
really dominant and, ready to, shine on the major stage. So I'm hoping for him, kind of a blast from the past. I almost hope that Lucas Glover can keep up his momentum from last year and possibly
Mm,
shine on the major stage and give one of these a run, maybe at the U.S. Open or something like that, and get his, you know, get back in that major winner circle. I'm trying to think another one. Cam Young. I would like to see him,
I want to see him
you
do
know,
well.
finally step up to the plate. I think he is, young and talented, but also I think sometimes his fiery nature kind of sometimes derails him away from reaching the potential that I think we all see when he strikes a golf ball. It's kind of
Yeah,
majestic watching him hit the ball, but being able to put it all together mentally along with your physical talents is something that I think we haven't seen from him yet.
yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else. Anyone else that kind of pops into my mind is kind of high potential. Oh, Justin Thomas. Do you think he gets it back together and returns to form next year, or if not win, but just compete in the majors?
I'm calling it now. JT gets at least 2 wins.
Okay,
Put it on the
that would be
books.
good.
Whether those
That
be
would be good.
majors or not, he's gonna have 2 wins throughout the season. And I don't and I'm not saying that they're gonna be the WWFT um 8G Wi-Fi internet tournament invitational. He's not gonna win that. He gonna win like it would just be real nice if he came out and won like the Arnold Palmer or stepped up and won the Memorial or something like that. We don't really have the Honda anymore. We don't have Jack's other event or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. I think he gets 2 though.
Okay, that's a bold prediction, but that would definitely be considered a successful season for him and a bounce back year,
Definitely.
especially after the year that he just came off of, and really people doubting and questioning whether he should have been on that Ryder Cup team. So that would be a really good year for Justin Thomas. Do you have any other things that were good in your eyes from this year that really just stood out?
Um I'm always a proponent for it, but what the DP World Tour did at the end of the year, and then what their game plan and what their movement, or I mean their business model going forward for next year for 2024, I think their drop of what they got planned going forward as far as their 4 stages, as far as how they're moving through the season, where they're going to be doing events, how they're going to be doing events and sectioned off like that. I think that's a really cool idea. And I think just like you said, the guy Pelly just, he has a knack for this type of deal. There's more
Hmm.
sponsors involved. I really think that the DP World Tour can make a resurgence. Just another, and then of course with the PGA doing as well as it is or is going to with these investors coming, there's no way that that doesn't trickle down and they don't, receive the benefits of that as well. So I think
Yeah.
just in a side chapter, I think DP World Tour coming back is going to be good for the game of golf and of course for European golf as well because they need somewhere to go if they're not going to all be able to Q School, Corn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour Canada, PGA Tour Latin
Yeah.
America, all those fun things. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if they want to do it, that way, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I think
Um,
there's definitely credence to what you're saying. Just to back that up, you're seeing quite a few talented young, kind of American golfers that haven't been able to get full-time status on the PGA Tour or Corn Ferry, um, or maybe qualify on the Corn Ferry, but are opting to go over to the DP World Tour. We talked
yeah,
early on in the year about how we didn't want the DP World Tour to turn into a feeder system for the PGA Tour. In actuality, I think this is turning out pretty dang well for players to go over there, get their start on a kind of global stage, play on some courses that you typically wouldn't. We saw Brooks Koepka, take that path. Peter Uline before he
Peter
left for
Uline.
Live took
Yeah.
that path.
Mm-hmm.
So there's quite a
Yeah.
few golfers that young American talents, people that were potential stars that got their start on the PGA, or excuse me, the DP World Tour, and then migrated back over. So after again, just getting some more experience. So I think there's definitely credence to what you're saying, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming season for the DP World Tour. So good call out there.
Those guys got to get out of
Uh,
their comfort zone, man. They,
yeah,
you're not always going to be in an English speaking country. You're not always going to be in front of people you know. You're going to have your team you fly with. You're going to have your caddy. You're going to have a few, like your manager, maybe a parent or a brother or somebody that you can finance and they got time to do it. But again,
yeah,
you're on your own. You got to be able to mentally be ready to play golf then travel to the next country or next city or whatever it may be. I just think it's an enlightening situation for people that haven't already done that thing. They've always chartered a flight. They've always been with their coach. They've always had it easy. It's not always going to be like that. That's not how this
yeah,
world is made. And, we're not going to get into life lessons and stuff like that, but this world is about winning. And you're going to have to figure out ways to get that win in, whether it be in your homeland or somewhere abroad. And then you can come back
yeah,
and take those experiences on and then develop from there. You know, Simple things turning into major moves is really what this all is about. So, if
yeah.
they can get it out of there and then come back and then make some good moves, then I think that's all for the better for them.
I think that's a great point. I know you said not talking about life lessons, but I think there is something to that, that the process has been lost in today's world. Oftentimes, like you see, I know I know I kind of feel like people feel like they're overnight successes, but the journey and kind of building through certain things has been
Truly,
lost. People just want like to
people
snap
skipping
your fingers,
steps.
wake up one day, and just be a winner or be successful. When, like you said, people are skipping steps or being able to jump the line without any true accolades and kind of getting it out the mud. So, um, yeah, I'm a fan of the journey. I think it builds character. I think it builds an appreciation, and it builds legacy. I think that's
Yeah,
been the saddest part of the live deal is that you see people that have had the chance to continue building a legacy, and then that opportunity probably isn't going to be available to them just because. I think Aber mentioned this week in his comments and why he did not make the jump to live is that there's the high likelihood that you're burning some bridges. And while there
yeah,
are maybe sponsors that are willing to come around and kind of get on board, you kind of hear some things about Ping kind of being the first to jump in the pool with being on live players' hats. But there are going to be some relationships that are just not going to ever come back as a result of this kind of internal fighting that's going on. So, yeah, big I mean, that's a really good point. So we'll keep it moving. Anything else good before we move on to kind of the bad?
mm, got to mention Tiger coming back. Always a good
That's
thing.
true. That's a good one.
I mean,
We've talked about it so much, but yeah,
always good. I mean, we all know it. The game's gonna be good. Um, Honestly, I think it's just even better that the game looked good, that the swing looked good, that the swing looked sturdy, didn't look
Hmm.
shaky, didn't look like he was searching like he's done in past when he's come back off injury. How is this going to perform? How is it going to look? How is it going to come off the face? He knows his shot shape. He knows what he needs to
Hmm.
do off the tee, and he knows the shots he needs to hit. And then when you're talking about one of the all-time top five ball strikers in the history of the game of golf, never going to be too far away. Just making sure he, can tidy it up around the greens, know what he's doing as far as short game stuff, whether he's going to be an aerial player, whether he's going to be a low chip and runner. Just make sure you're committed to it. But, we're talking to a 15-time major. He don't need my advice.
Yeah, I don't need to add to that. I mean, that is good. I mean, the only thing I would say is that the numbers in these last couple of weeks show that Tiger still moves the needle. I know we have a
Yep.
limited amount of years left of that. Um, he's not going to play forever on the PGA Tour, so the game
Yeah.
has to continue developing the next level of stars. But in the short term, the eyes will turn on Tiger Woods if he's lacing it up. So shout out to Tiger Woods. I struggled with the bad category just because I think I don't know because there's a couple things that I'm kind of teetered back and forth, but I think essentially they fall into the ugly category. But I think one thing that's just bad, and I will put it in the bad category because it's a little bit further out, is the golf ball rollback, and it's just a
Yeah.
ultimately a bad look for the game. I don't think I've not seen a proponent. I've not seen definitely anyone on the amateur side of things that's like, hey, yeah, that's awesome. That it's affecting me as
Yeah.
an amateur. No one on the amateur side of the game is advocating for that. And there's very few people that are at the top of the game from a expertise and or playing level that are advocates. It's definitely a lopsided argument, and I just think this is at the time that and place that the game is in right now. It's popular, more popular than it's ever been, but it's also going through some
Hmm.
things. I just don't think this is the right time to make this decision. I just don't. I think they could have just paused golf ball development and I don't know, held technology where it currently is. But I think this was a bad. I'm not gonna say it's ugly just because we're not gonna experience it for a while. What do you think about that one?
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I've gone off the deep end. I'm just kind of like middle of the water treading on it because when it's explained where, well, essentially the USGA and the RNA agreed to both to just fully hose everybody. So now everybody's losing 3 to 5 yards or whatever, whatever. And when it comes to like that, like, I'm mad I'm losing yards, but if it's literally going to be 3 to 5 yards, I can't be too mad about it. But it's still stupid. It's still just like the dumbest thing possible that you could do. And it's for sure the bad and the ugly both because it's an ugly fight. It's an ugly way to introduce it just underneath the scrums of what else is going on in the world. So like, you just just by the way, in like 5 7 years we gonna roll the ball back. Just let y'all know now. But anyways, like you can't just be whispering in the shadows like that, bro. It's real
Well, I tell
early.
you, I
Whatever.
joke that they tried to do it in between the John Rahm announcement
Yeah, they
and
did.
to sh to shield themselves away from long-term criticism. But I think the one I don't know, I literally just lost my thought. But it's frustrating. At the end of the
It's
day,
frustrating.
I-
It's frustrating.
it's just frustrating. I don't know. I'm not gonna be deep. It's just um I think they should have just done something with the pro game. It literally affects 1% of players in the world. That's it. and it should
Yeah,
have stuck with that. Introduce the ball for pro tournaments or even just USGA sanctioned tournaments, and then move on with life. But I don't think anybody is saying that amateur players are driving it through fairways. That's just not realistic. It's just not.
right.
So, I want to rerun real quick this comment from Crystal here. If I can get it to come up, and I am struggling over here. So I'm waiting for Tiger to win number 83 to win. Yeah, so people can stop saying that he is arguably the greatest of all time. So unfortunately, Crystal, people are going to hinge this on
Yeah,
the majors. They're going to hinge it
on the
on the majors
majors.
and not a at this level, where he's at, he's got to win more majors than Jack or at least tie him up before that argument goes away. You're still going to have people that are going to question Tiger versus Jack just because of the majors. I think we've said it. Well, I mean, I know we've said it on this channel is that the majors are ultimately what counts. And unfortunately, with this division in golf, it's made it even more pronounced that the majors are the one decider and differentiator. So,
Yeah,
I think Tiger has the iron talent and game to go in a 4 day stretch. Can he hit his irons well enough to compete with the best in the world? Heck yes. Can he get his driver to cooperate and be long enough and accurate enough to beat out a field? That's I think the ultimate question. But yeah, I don't think that
I think
argument
so.
unfortunately goes away.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're always going to talk about. I mean, personally speaking, and I know Rod, you'll probably back me up on this, but I mean, Tiger is the most electric golfer we've seen. He's clearly the most towering figure in the last 40 to 50 years of golf, period. So, for all the things that Jack Nicklaus has done, shout out to him. As far as it goes, as far as like legacy and things like that, when your name is Eldrick Taunt Woods and we call you Tiger instead, I think it goes to say a lot. When you are have made yourself so good at what you do that you are Tiger Woods officially and that's your logo, I think something can be said about the legacy and the imprint that you've left on this game. So unfortunately, it's just going to be an opinion thing. But yes, Tiger
Yeah.
is the greatest golfer to live.
I think the not unfortunate part, but I think most if you kind of swing this argument over to like a game like basketball, right? There's the generational divide. Unfortunately for golf, they don't have anybody that has been able to come around and have the similar level of dominance or, like you said, electric play that we saw from Tiger. I mean, he was just on an incredible level. 2000 Tiger Woods is unbeatable by anybody, right? And that stretch of golf that he played, but you have to sustain that. And
Yeah,
Jack was the person of his time. Arnie was the person before that. I don't think, we love Rory to death, but Rory has not won at a prolific level. Rory will be entering year 10 without a major. That's doesn't spell that you're one of the best, and I mean you're one of the best in the game, but does enter into the greatest of all time argument at all. So no one's even touching that argument. And unfortunately, you have a whole generation of people who did watch Jack play, and they are convinced, and they are primarily the people making that argument between Jack and Tiger. Again, it's kind of like people who are Jordan or LeBron fans, and I mean
very true.
it's very generational. I'm always going to be a Jordan person. I don't care how long LeBron plays. Yes, I'd say he's top 5 easily. He's 2, or 3, whatever. But he's never going to overtake Jordan in my eyes. I lived through the Jordan era. That's what I saw. That's what I experienced. And call me jaded, but that's what I believe. And there's just certain people that believe that about the Jack and Tiger argument. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to overtake that until some next person comes up and we can kind of continue to compare Tiger's stats against the
Definitely.
next generation. Um, so anything else that you may have in the bad category? I know we've talked about the golf ball. Anything else from bad?
Mm, my physical fitness was bad this year.
Bro,
I should have
bro.
been in shape, man. But anyways, we're working on that. 2024 is going to be a good year. We're bouncing back. Snap back
So
in the
so
season.
how can we hold you accountable to your physical fitness? What
Well,
can the community as a whole do, or what is your plan to attack it?
I personally don't mind being bullied. And again, my ad is the same on all social media. Babylonian, wherever you want to see me at, whether that be the Bird app, whether that be Instagram, or on the roads that be. But yes, bullying works for me. I'm in that era of living, so I'm not the guy that's gonna sit here and whine and cry, and I'm gonna be like, "You right, I need to be on my stuff." But me personally, I keep thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be better in shape. I want to not have to change my whole wardrobe because I'm becoming a fat slob. But at the end of the day, I just need to think about it this way, Roddy. The better shape I'm in, the easier golf becomes. And that's as simple as it gets. And I'm still an idiot and I don't believe in it. But 24-hour fitness membership is already on the agenda. I've already got it. I just need to get my regiment together and I need to just, it's that thing. It's again what we always talk about when a habit becomes, cemented in your brain, when it's something that has just become second nature to you. Once I get back
Yeah,
into that rhythm of the late night gym sessions, this is the perfect time for me because I'm a night owl. So that 10 to 11, 10 to 11:30 block is just a perfect time to just lock in, get out, hit the sauna, sweat a little bit of the toxins out, and then going about my day, take a shower and going
and
back to work.
no one should be there too. That should be the prime time
That's
when the gym
exactly
empties
just.
out.
And then you doing resistance work. I don't even need to lift real weights to get better and stronger in the golf aspect. It's all about
Yeah.
it's all about stretching and flexibility, core balance, things like that. Don't get me wrong. I want to make it look good, but like, yeah, I mean, as long as I'm stretching, staying on my yoga stuff. And the thing about yoga's like 30 minutes a day, and you are locked in. You don't have to do like 2 hours of yoga. You don't have to do that. It's 30 minutes. It's like, I mean, it's just very physical stretching. It's really good.
Yeah.
I,
And don't forget the diet. I mean, that's a huge part. I know you
right.
started
Food.
doing groceries a little bit more this year than you previously had, but diet makes a huge
Yeah.
difference. And um, I would say also big thing that's caught trend this year. I mean, not even this year, but just more in fat is the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Skipping meals and maybe not eating after a certain time of the day, or just eating lunch and dinner, skipping breakfast every single day. That's also been very effective. I know for me,
Water
not as
intake, like crazy.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of exercise helps with the strength and speed, but if you're also looking to drop pounds, diet's going to play a huge part in that as well. So
Absolutely.
good, bad. All right, let's get into the ugly. I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. I mean, the ugly, we beat the dead horse all year. It's the PGA Tour live battle. It's the kind of
Yep.
Cold War, just back and forth. A lot of verbal jabs, a lot of, you know, potential rumors and different things like that. Um,
Yeah.
we have list and list of videos talking about live, why we don't believe in the product itself. So, you know, before you comment, just check out a couple videos. I think we've just described it very clearly several times why we don't like live, and why I think the PGA Tour honestly is still the better product of the two. And
Yeah.
I don't see that necessarily ending this year. Um, I don't know if you want to add to that. It is what it is, but I'm more curious if you had anything else that's ugly that stood out to you that was just really defined that I'm missing.
Um, well, to tag along with the rivalry thing or so-called rivalry, just the ugly part is the puppets of it all. You feeling like you have a say, you don't really have a say. AKA, and I like using names here. Greg Norman and Jay Monahan, just the two biggest puppets of it all. Jay Monahan's got his subsidiary game plan. He's always going. He's going to ride off into sunset with some bread, regardless. But he's definitely
Hmm.
being a puppet. He's definitely a ploy. And of course, when these markets and stuff get in the way, he's going to find a way to either save face or do what needs to be done to still be riding these coattails and make money. And of course, Greg Norman, his struggle of thinking he has any kind of power is just pure comedy to me. But it's also very ugly because he thinks he has a say in this, whether these players are going over to him or not. You're not the one giving the money. You're not the one negotiating these deals.
Right.
It's between
Right.
lawyers, agents, players, and then the head guys up there. So again, just very ugly. Also, but Ryder Cup, very ugly. What happened amongst the team and what happened with the
Mm.
choice selection. I think it just needs to be more vetted. And of course, we can't always be. We just can't always do the homie pick for this captaincy. Again, people didn't all like Paul Azinger, but we beat Europe's butt that year when it was at the K Club or whatever, um, over in Kentucky or whatever. The Valhalla. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
it's
know, but
Valhalla, maybe.
yeah, but we cooked and we did the little pod. So you might not have liked it at first, but everybody that was in that select group that played with each other, they did what they were supposed to do to get the win. So again, we're not always gonna have a fan favorite or a player's favorite as the captain, but we're gonna have somebody that knows how to win, knows how to coach winning, knows how to put winning formulas in people's brains to get this
Yeah.
back in shape. Like, there's no reason for us to just get cooked like this overseas every year. We shouldn't have, if we have a good captain, if we have a strong mental team, this whole getting drugged by 5 to 10 points on our away soil shouldn't be happening. It should be a competition. It should be close. We should be going down to the singles. We had to electrically win like the first five to even get it within five. That's how much we
Yeah.
were getting our ass beat by. You know what I'm saying? So I think
Yeah.
we just need to have a stronger vetting so that, and then I don't care how
Well, let me
much
ask you this
media
real
rights
quick.
you have. You know,
Oh, yeah, we'll come back to the media part. What do you think about reducing the amount of captain's picks down to like two to prevent the kind of
mm,
nepotism and friendly picks? What do you think about that?
and them taking the top ten just out of like world rankings.
Yeah, whatever the point structure is, taking top 10 and the captain only gets two picks from there,
I
which right now
mean,
it's 8 and
yeah,
4. I don't know. I think that's the most I think this year was the most egregious, like you said, homie picks that there were. Justin Thomas should not have made the Ryder Cup this year, even though he performed well enough to justify the pick. The game just this was the worst year of his career. You could have easily
yeah,
taken a
statistically,
Lucas
yeah.
Glover. It's just I don't know. I mean, I don't legacy's one thing, but I don't see Justin Thomas as somebody who's a locker room driver. Someone, I mean, people respect his game, but I don't think people gravitate towards Justin Thomas. I mean, he's got his friends, he's
I
cool with
think
Jesse,
so.
Jordan Speed. Do you think people gravitate towards him and look him as a leader?
I Yeah, they've already said he's an emotional leader, and by that I mean not like how we think of a leader, Rod, where we're like,
Yeah,
"Yo, you need to get that shit together," blah 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 blah. But like, he's going out and playing well. Like he's going out and showing it with the
yeah,
play. I think that's what this generation is now. you see an example, you try to follow the example. But also in the same aspect, I think it could get even uglier if they go down to two picks. Because if you go down to two picks and then you got a homie captain who's making homie picks, it's gonna be even uglier. We ain't even gonna see no Cam Youngs
Well,
or no
well, well,
like Tony
I
Finau's
get
at
it,
12 to
but
14 picks. You know what I'm saying?
that's why I said in real time, like you said, the whole thing needs to be reevaluated, and just kind of picking people again. I think Zach Johnson was one of the worst captains in a long time. um,
Very long.
called it well before, and that's not to pat myself on the back. It's just like we've seen the pedigree of successful captains in the Ryder Cup and what works and what doesn't work. The formula is not that complicated, but um, I don't know. There just seems like there should have been some level of separation. I think Zach Johnson, as a current player in the game, it just didn't set up right in my eyes,
There
and
wasn't
I think
enough
that came to
separation
fruition.
between yeah, there wasn't enough separation between coach and player. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah, cuz and then of course if you're going to be a playing I mean not a playing coach, but like a player, a current player that is going to be the captain, let it
Hmm.
be a Steve Stricker or let it be a Tiger because Tiger in 2019 when he was the President's Cup playing captain, they cooked and they all rallied around him.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He went
And I
3
think
and
he was
0
the
in
best player
club.
out there. Yes.
He was easily the best player. Won both of his foursome matches and then beat Abraham Answer's ass. Like, I mean, I know
Yeah.
they got real egregious with the walk off with
Oh
him
yeah.
stepping to
The
Abraham
memes.
Answer. The
Yeah.
memes that year were crazy, but it was a legitimate like 3 or 4 feet, and he was already like, "All right, Abe, good playing, but yeah, man, I can't believe we
See,
screwed the pooch that bad with Zach Johnson, man. That was
I
so
know.
bad, bro. That was
You were
ugly.
going to talk about the media part of it as well.
Oh yes, okay, so of course with media articles, the underlying things that y'all talk about in the locker room, please keep that on a hush. Why do we know about all this? I understand the drama is good. We want to read about it and people need to talk about it. I agree. But like things like that, like, oh, they were on the fence about if they were gonna support Patrick Cantlay wearing no hat. Why are we going 6-6 hat and no hat? And then the whole little tea, like you sipping the tea gesture, like, bro, like, come on, bro. Like either have it out in the
That's the,
forefront or don't speak on it at all. Quit being
that
like some that was so
that's society, bro. I mean, that's society.
chatty.
That's where we're at today. You know,
There's
that
all
is
there's
literally.
cameras everywhere. Yeah, cameras are everywhere, but hey, look, we're about to have a real meeting right now. I need you to get up out the locker room, my boy. Can't have the cameras in here for this. We
I
need to
mean,
have a
think about it,
little bit
man.
more of that time.
Nah, everybody's got a team, and their team has team. You know, it's just like all these different connections within the game, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, you got your agent, you got your trainer, you got your nutritionist, you have your mental game coach. All the, you know, you got a small entourage of people that travel with you, like you said, could be spouses, friends, you know, a sibling, a parent. And within those factions, it's just more and more avenues for information to get
To leak.
out and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to leak out. And it's just, you know, I also, like you said, the kind of last thing you said was chatty patties. Some of this information is just people talking loosely to, you know, officials or, you know, random reporters. Um,
And
you know,
fans
there's just
hearing it.
something, yeah, there's always somebody that kind of gets off on being able to spill information, and they're gratified to be in the know or to reveal something like, oh, I'm gonna just drop this little nugget out here and see how
Yeah.
the people react. It's just unfortunately the sign of the times, and you know
Yeah.
I know you're like keep it tight and keep it in the house, but I'm the complete opposite. I like keeping it messy. I like having things to talk about. I like the hearing. I like knowing where people stand at the end of the day, and so
Yeah,
you know
if it
you don't
comes
want
out,
to
I'll talk
have.
about it.
Yeah, no, but you don't want people in the team room to you know affect things down the road. So let's just say there's a
Yeah,
situation down the line where Patrick Cantlay has an opportunity to get into another Ryder Cup, and let's say he's on the outside looking in as it relates to points, and we have this history of him being a bit of a cancer in the locker room. You can make a different decision. So I'm always good with people revealing who they really are. That's just
I
where
agree.
I'm
I think,
at with that.
yeah, no, and like a couple of different things, like just off the top of my head, talking about ugly, I feel like if we're gonna like, I feel like people are just you can't even say girly because I feel like sometimes women are way more man enough to say things like we're just in such a gender fluid nation right now that you can't even really say shit like that. So let me apologize ahead of time. But like as far as it
Yeah.
goes for like you know what I'm saying? Like there is times when like you just have to get to the bottom of it, and people don't want to. They always beat around the bush. So like if we want to have all this media, if we want to have all this footage, people have to be on the forefront. People don't want to do that. So that's already a step in the wrong way. And then, all the cameras around, there's so many of these videos where it's like, who was in there filming? And it's like, you get the slow mos of somebody putting their shoes on in the locker room or like putting a jacket on and stuff like that. Like, that's cool and all, but like, you're doing a lot. But I
You
also
just
think it
don't
was
think
funny
camera
though.
you just don't think cameras should be allowed on that level and have that
I mean,
level of
yeah,
access.
yeah, if you making like, there's so many people that think they have like prolific talent to where they're gonna need to drop a lifelong documentary of how they went about it and showing all these snippets of them, intermingling with teammates and friends and players and coaches and everybody and you know me. Everybody thinks they have an opinion to be said that matters, or they think they have something to be explained or needs to be exposed, and it's not the case. And that's how I feel. Some people, I just do not care enough for you to just have the cameras around you. But in the same aspect, it's funny because chatty patties like Sergio Garcia, you just out in the forefront, you mad at a penalty that you did on yourself because you can't swing it in the fairway. And now you talking about, man, I can't wait to get to live next week. And boo 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 boo. That's the shit that I want to hear more of. Like when we mic'd up on the course, I'm all for it, bro. Give me that.
Nah.
Give me
There's no
that.
in
I
between.
love it.
It's either full transparency or none at all. I think so. We're trending more towards everything being out in the open. It's one
Everything.
of those things. The toothpaste cannot be put back in the tube on that. It's just going to
True.
continue to be more and more exposure. One thing that I'm
You're
sitting
right.
here
There's no
randomly thinking
regression.
about. What's that?
I'll say you're right. There's no regression on that type of stuff.
No, no. One thing that I'm sitting here thinking about, this is so random. When we were talking about the depth of the PGA Tour, one player that we didn't even mention that has really kind of stepped up his game over the last couple of years is Max Homa. Um, and we're talking about all
Bruh.
this talent that is out here for the PGA Tour. Um, I mean, I don't know if you're a live supporter, how can you like? Yeah, you got players, but again, we can keep naming people from the PGA Tour and the way that they're building up a bench and have continued to build up a bench despite major losses. And trust me, these losses are major. But again, I'm just like I said, and there's probably another handful of like 5, 10 players that we could mention that we have not that honestly have probably shown big potential. Um, this past year. I mean, really, we didn't even talk
Yeah.
about. Again, we didn't rename Wyndham Clark as a potential, but when you look at, when he gets hot and on fire, I
Yeah.
mean, he's pretty long and he's pretty majestic with the iron game as well. So I'm just
He
saying.
plays that same little fall off fade. He got it.
So yeah,
I
I was
mean,
just sitting here
speaking of
thinking
Max
like,
Homa,
damn,
though, you're right. No, you're right. And
yeah,
then, media presence, hilarious. Great
Oh yeah, he's the
content. I
best.
want to hear about what you have to say. Michael Kim, I want to hear about your golf knowledge. For real. That's
Yeah.
great stuff. Joel Damon, literally one of the homies. Bro, I shot a 78 the other day, bro. I don't even know what to say, man. I really am like the 78th best golfer out there, bro. Like, give me the honest, give me that. You got a drink now, like you be out there slosh. Bro, that story about him making the US Open and he was like 5 or 6 high noons deep just on the back nine. He was like, yo, like, you know what? I don't know, bro. We got to go crazy low this 18. Let's do it. And was just drinking in between rounds and went crazy. Like, that's the type of stuff that's hilarious to me. I want to know more about that. I don't want to know more about Henrik Stenson. I don't want to know more about that. Watch that as dude.
Oh,
You know what I'm
whatever.
saying?
Whatever, Marcus.
I mean, they don't have no
All
rights
right.
to speak on it anyways. They all
This
getting
is
blocked
true.
anyways.
This is true.
They can't
As
have
they are
no
contracted
fun league,
employees.
buddy. Yep.
Anything else that you have in the ugly category?
Um. Um. Ye- yes, my golf game was ugly in the beginning. I was hitting duck hooks like crazy. We are off the duck hook game.
Okay.
We are off the duck hook game. We are
So
back to a controllable
what's the
draw, low
I was
key.
gonna ask what's the preferred shot shape right now?
Even I mean, we're drawing. I mean, but again, like I've told you, I'm getting more depth and keeping it in front of me, so it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for me to clear and get all that in front of me and play my natural shot shape with the strong grip and everything like that. And the even off the driver, it's been drawing. Now I will say it's a little bit ugly with my 3 wood and my hybrid, but that's just because I don't use them a lot. I'm If I have a chance to pull a driver, I'm gonna pull a driver. There's no need in dialing back. I'm trying to get as close as possible so I can have a wedge in hand. But yes, other than that, oh, and my short game, for some reason, I felt like I was doing the same things, and I probably brought it up to you over the summer when we were playing over your birthday week. But it was just real frustrating because, like, I'm open in the face, I'm playing it with spin, and the spin is not spinning. So, like, it was real. We were searching for a little bit, but we got it back. We're hitting the low
Okay.
checkers, we're hitting the high spinning shots. The contact is back there. We're playing the bounce. So, it was ugly. Now it's good. It was ugly, then it was
Okay.
bad, then now it's good. So all three
All
facets, brother.
right.
All three
Well,
facets.
I know you've been on a good run. We'll see if that game shows up tomorrow on
I'm about to
Christmas morning.
cook tomorrow, bud.
If, like I said, I don't know how long we're going to be able to stay live, but I have a live posted for tomorrow. Get to see some swings in real time, see us out on the course, joking around. Hopefully, have a good time. It'll be my first time with us going live, but I have the mobile mics ready to go, so it'll be kind of a little bit of encore. So we'll see how much
Heavy.
fun we have or what. But if you're watching this after the fact, hope you have an amazing and Merry Christmas with friends and family and people that you love, and a Happy New Year. We'll be back before then. But if you're watching now, Merry Christmas to you. Thank anybody who's allowed us to grace their presence and you've spent time with us. We are very thankful for you. Bearder Bros Golf Show. My name's Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
We'll catch you on the next one.